I would like, therefore, to invite to the floor, first of all, Jana Zgova, that is from Euroquity BPI France. Thank you, Jana, for joining us. Also, a precious resource for the ESIL initiative, which will be moderating the session. Francesca Natali, who is the investment director at Meta and also a PHIRE exploitation partner. Massimo Alfano, the lead scientist and coordinator for the PHIRE transition project. Lorenzo Valeriany, the project program manager for OxiNEMS and exploitation partner. And Luca Pellegrino, the scientist also of the OxiNEMS projects. The floor is yours, Jana. You have 45 minutes and enjoy the workshop.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our panel discussion that is focused on how business angels or another innovation actors can support AEC activities, and specifically this panel discussion, or we can say workshop, will be focused on Pathfinder and transition. So just to recap, as we already heard today, Pathfinder and both transition are very early stage solutions. So TRL level, technology readiness level, it's from 1 to 3 for Pathfinder, 1 to 4, and from 3 to 6 for transition. Today we have here a panel of experts that will share with us their insights, their experience with these projects, and as well to share with you maybe some tips and tricks how to successfully apply to AEC, and how to maybe learn from their mistakes or their success stories. So first, let me maybe start with Pathfinder. We have here Luca Pellegrino, that is a coordinator of OxiNEMS project. Together here is as well with Lorenzo Valeriany, that is his partner for exploitation results and exploitation activities. And first I would give them a floor to introduce the project, OxiNEMS, and as well to share with us the objectives of the project, of course, but as well their way, how they receive a grant from AEC, what was maybe their mistakes at the first stage, but as well to share with us their testimony and their experience. So please, Luca, floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Luca Pellegrino from the National Research Council of Italy, and I had the pleasure to coordinate the PT Open at that time project that is called OxiNEMS. So the OxiNEMS project started in 2019 and ended this year in January. The topic of this project was and is, because somehow we are continuing our activities, our research activities, is twice. The first is to develop a new technology line for sensors, micro electromechanical sensors, with different materials, and especially with oxide materials that are somehow complementary to the silicon technology. So we had to study new devices based with materials that are currently not employed by companies and industries. And this was somehow a pioneering study. And second, we have to develop with these materials a magnetometer for application in biomagnetism for measuring the magnetic field of the brain, and apply these magnetometers to develop in the future a new machine for magnetoencephalography and MRI, particularly low field MRI. So these are the two main goals of this project, have been the two main goals. And we first submitted the first version in January 2017, so quite a long time ago. And this was not accepted at the beginning, even if it was very good, the evaluation, scientific evaluation. And the reason was that the exploitation strategy was not enough described. At that time, we had one SME. We start making a kind of exploitation strategy with the impact, but the impact of our technology was not enough analyzed, and the structure of our project was not rationalized towards the application in different fields. So we changed one scientific partner for different reasons, but not for, this was not the key point. The key point was that included the meta group as exploitation manager that they helped us to on the exploitation strategy. We made a special work package, and they tried to teach at the beginning, during the proposals phase, how to rationalize and how to program our impact on our technology. So just to think what are the possible early adopters of our technology and so on. So this was accepted on a second stage. And okay, we have 4 scientific partners, 1 SME, and Meta Group now in this consortium. And okay, aside from their publication, I just want to point out we had 3 patents in this Pathfinder. 1 has been already granted in USA and Europe. 2nd in Italy. It was a side project somehow. And another is pending in the Netherlands on a humidity sensor. So what is important, and just wanted to point out that we started from one idea and we followed this idea, but at the same time, we developed different technologies and we had a different idea during the project, and we had to exploit these technologies somehow in different ways. So we started with the mainstream, but during the project, we had different technology developed at different URL. And this is, I think, an important point for the discussions, because we are scientists, we are well aware of what we are doing, but somehow some people should tell us if what we are doing is interesting for in other direction that maybe we don't know. So I think a collaboration with people that are inside companies or that develop technologies in other fields is very important. And this is my impression.
Thank you very much, Luca. Lorenzo, if you can describe very briefly, what is your activity, what you are now working together with Luca? How it looks, the work together, because I think it's not maybe not easy from external partner to support a team of the researchers working on the very specific solution. How looks your support?
Yeah, thanks, Yana. Well, it is not an easy journey, let's say. So what Luca said before, we tried to be involved since the start, basically. So at the proposal stage, as supporting in typing, I would say, a specific exploitation pathway. Because what was presented by Mr. Waki, I think in the slide before, that there are, only 40% of Pathfinder having an industrial partner. There is an industrial partner in OxiNEMS. So what we try to do is starting to have a specific also potential partner that in the future may uptake the technologies that can, be as results from the project. But then what we did is supporting all the consortium partners, the technical partners, in understanding how to pave their journey to the market. Because this was something that, as Luca said, we started with an idea, but then with 5-year projects, the things may change very quickly. Because again, the share is very low, the challenges are a lot. And then what we did is working alongside them, giving a high level of support in understanding which is the best way. We discussed it, I would say, quite a lot of times. How to involve business angels was the case. Because, not, I would say, all the kind of technologies were mature enough to to be, going in the direction of, for example, spin-off or taking the direction of licensing. So the main issues I would say that we faced in this supporting the exploitation was especially focused on two main aspects. The first thing was about what's going to happen after the end of the project. Basically, a lot of times we see that, after the end of, the deadline of the project, partners are not collaborating actively anymore towards the exploitation. So we started very early, I would say in the middle of the project, to understand how and if could be the right direction of, the specific results. We stressed, I would say, the partners in looking into the possibility to apply for a transition, because many of the technologies that coming up from the project were entitled to apply for a transition, but it takes time. So now partners are working around this possibility, and I would say the right evolving of this kind of technologies, the transition basically, because a lot of times we discussed if the TRL was mature enough to spin off or licensing, but the partners at the end said that the technology itself was not working, so the proof of concept was not completed. So we said, let's try to look at the transition, which could be the natural uptake of the technology. And the second aspect that, was the main challenge was the use model. So basically the best way for these technologies to be uptake after the end of the project. And, we saw a lot of times that it was not easy to match, I would say, the perspectives of researchers around, the technical aspects and the market needs, okay? That, basically is, how the technology can fit in needs of early adopters, users. And this was another hard job that we tried to do, because basically at the end of the story, if the TRL is very early, we try to work around understanding perfectly which could be a potential market application of the technologies. And this was, I would say, an hard job, because, the TRL is very low, but we tried with the partners to work alongside this. And for example, we have the industrial partner that, is for the consortium, that they try to uptake a specific technology sensor to enlarge their portfolio of products. So this was, I would say, a nice example of how, a technology can be uptake easily if, I would say, in the consortium, there is already, since the round of the project, a partner that can really uptake the technology. Because it's very hard if you don't have inside the consortium a potential partner that can really easily take this to the market, because then if there are universities or research centers, then it takes a lot of time internally to discuss this, discuss with potential market players. And in that perspective, having inside the consortium already a partner helped us quite a lot, I would say. So I would say these are the main two lessons learned about, the main challenges of the Pathfinder.
Very much. Luca, you mentioned already that for the first submission, you receive a feedback that the exploitation plan was not developed enough, or it was missing some parts. So during this resubmission of your proposal, you work very closely already with Lorenzo or with the Meta Ventures
yes.
to resubmit the proposal. Did you change as well something inside the proposal, or you just develop only the part of the exploitation plan?
Yeah, mainly the exploitation part, yeah. So the basic idea was the same, and also the activities, the work plan was the same, apart from the impact part, that we dedicate a new work package. And I learned a lot of things regarding business, how to the value proposition, the lean canvas. And this is something that we never studied, never known before. So this was also a growing experience for me as a scientist to understand another word that we usually scientists are very prone to the lab, but we would like to, some of them, especially I'm a little bit senior scientist, so I would like that young students and postdocs could take their knowledge and open the companies and spin-offs. So I would support this if possible, and this is one important point to fund young people to make technology.
Thank you very much. And I forgot to mention that as well, our colleagues that are connected online, they can ask questions. At the end, we will have like 10 minutes for the questions from audience. So you can ask question and I will receive it on my phone. Okay, let's move to the transition project that today is Massimo Alfano. It's a coordinator of the PHIRE project. And Francesca Natali is a partner for exploitation, but as well a business angel that she supports already the solution before it was a transition project, as I understood. Okay, so I will give you as well a floor, Massimo, to introduce your solution and your project.
Okay, so good morning, everyone, and thanks for the invitation. So I was a coordinator of the Pathfinder until 1 year ago. Now I'm the coordinator of a transition project. So both projects are on the same topic, and the topic is how to tackle the bladder cancer residual disease. That means that at the moment, there are limitations in the detection of small bladder cancer lesions smaller than 1 millimeter size. So the tumor remains there after the surgery because the surgeon is able to resect what is visible, what is not visible remains into the organ. And in the majority of the cases, as for other tumors, the bladder cancer do not respond to therapy. So at the end of the day, we have residual disease due to the current limitation. Residual disease means that the same patients undergo multiple cycles, surgeries, treatments, cystoscopies for the entire lifetime after the first diagnosis. So the quality of life of the patient is poor, and the bladder cancer is the most expensive malignancy to be treated because of multiple surgery, treatments, and so on. So we identified a solution that is the use of gold nanorods as a contrast agent. Nanorods are instilled directly into the bladder, to the urethra. So the gold nanorods are used.
If you can, yes.
Are used as a contrast agent for photoacoustic imaging. So through the photoacoustic imaging, we can detect lesions that are smaller than 1 millimeter size. And if we, on the other side, if we irradiate the nanorods through a particular laser light, the nanorods release heat. So we can detect the small lesion, and at the same time, we can burn the small lesion. So this is our solution. In both projects, tackle the same topic. So in the Pathfinder, we developed the solution. Now in the transition, we developed the solution in the preclinical model. Now in the transition, we are trying to transform our preclinical solution into a clinical solution. We are adapting our solution to the clinical market, to the clinical scenario. And to do that, we are taking, we include in the consortium clinicians, urologists, as well as Meta Group as exploitation partner, because we need to exploit the market. So at this moment, because all the consortium, the beneficiary are scientists. So we didn't know what was exploitation activities. Now we will learn. And I don't know. I will leave the floor to Francesca.
It works, I think, yes. So thanks, Massimo. So maybe, Jana, you would like to raise a question, but I mean, I would like to complement what Massimo is saying. I mean, the transition we are supporting as Meta Group is still ongoing. And what we see as exploitation partner, but also as people with the experience in investment and with connection with the financial market, it is that there are a lot of possibilities. And what we are doing with our scientific partner and researchers showing, I mean, having great competencies and working in a very promising and excellent environment, it is to work with them in order to build a plan, a long-term plan. Because, I mean, what we see as a missing point or as a weak point. It is a long-term plan, having, a clear goal to take such important and promising results that could have a great impact on society into the market. They are really great in making their clinical studies, in taking the research into the next level, but they have lots of difficulties in understanding how to create a product that could really fit the market needs, having in mind that it is not only a therapeutic needs they need to fit and to solve, and they are great in doing that. But they need also to shape and to design the product in order to fit the needs of the urologists, who are the one that need to use the product. And so, we are trying, and I believe that we are quite successful in doing that. We are, making lots of discussion in order to define a clear exploitation path. And if I may also add another relevant point, because, there are two big consortium, two big groups inside the project. One led by Ospedale San Raffaele, and the second one led by University of Bologna. And each group is taking care of developing a specific key exploitable results. We as an exploitation partner and also as investors, having in mind that to design a successful use model, a successful business model, I would say, it is important, to work around these two exploitable results and maybe to put together these two exploitable results in order to have, the right product that could be taken successfully into the market. And so, we are so far we are really working hard on defining, the most successful business plan that could lead to the creation of a spin-off, because this is the use model we are already discussing. Because for researchers, it is a long process before deeply understand what it really means to set up a company and to organize a company around a successful product. So we are using the year which is left before the completion of the project in order to do that. And if I may add, the last comment, we are already receiving services, high-value services from the European Innovation Council. And I believe, it is a great opportunities for transition project and for, all the other projects funded by the European Innovation Council. But even if it is great, I believe that it is very important to have on board a partner, an innovation partner that could support the project and the project partner under the whole journey, not only, on demand. And, such type of competencies, if are inside the project since the very beginning, could also help the project to select the most useful services, the most effective services that the ESIL could offer to the project.
If I may add, also if they are present in the beginning of the project, they help us to shape the solution toward the market, because we are scientists. Maybe we like that particular kind of data, but maybe it's not competitive for the market. So they help us to shape the right solution for the right market.
Thank you very much. Back to my first question about your path to be AEC beneficiary. It was not easy, as I understood even from the first slide. The first for the fourth submission for the previous Pathfinder, then the second submission for the transition. Have you received like very specific feedback from the jury? And did you take this feedback? Did you improve your proposal? Have you already involved Francesca or another innovation actors to support your proposal with these resubmissions?
Yeah, in the Pathfinder, we didn't care about exploitation activities. I mean, it was not a requirement. It was only basic science. We demonstrated the feasibility of the solution. So there was no, but sometimes, I mean, I always take in consideration what the reviewers mention in the report. Although in the first submission in the Pathfinder, a reviewer say, "Oh, I didn't like this proposal because to me it's not accurate enough." For example, we had a partner that was the Weizmann Institute from Israel, and the reviewers say, "Oh, they wrote Weizmann with one N, and the second time they wrote Weizmann with two N. So to me, this project is not accurate enough." So sometimes, who knows? But most of the time, I got positive, feedback, and we take in consideration. So for the transition, yes, we took in consideration meta group from the beginning, because during the Pathfinder, I had the chance to follow a workshop that were organized in Brussels by meta group and by the ESIL. So I was aware of the meta group. So they are from the beginning of the project. They were very helpful, as you can see. We got to the interview both time, and the second interview we got the grant. No, for sure. I mean, also because as I said at the beginning, all the beneficiaries are scientists, basic scientists. So we have to learn exploitation activities, and we have to learn how to put into practice what we learn, the theory.
Thank you. I think, Francesca, you wanted to react.
Yes. I think, Massimo, that it was also quite important, our role during the interview preparation and the interview itself, because it was quite clear that the IP and the IP strategy and how to build value around the existing IP, it was quite a very relevant issue for the jury member. And so, we were very good in, addressing in advance this potential question that, in fact, came out during the interview. And
in fact, we spent about 4 weeks preparing the interview. Also, Sunday evening, we make a fake interview between some colleagues.
It was training is important.
Yes.
Training, repetition, of course. But you said 4 weeks. It's a very short time.
just to prepare the interview.
The interview, okay. But full proposal, it's like 1 year work, I would say.
6 months.
6 months at least.
6 months for the transition. For the Pathfinder was longer because we had to identify the consortium. So it took me a lot of time to identify the consortium for the Pathfinder. Then for the transition was easy because the consortium was already set, plus or minus. But takes a long time to prepare a proposal like this. And I agree, because you ask for a few millions of budget, so it's not, you ask something. So
for something, of course. Do you have more slides that you would like to share with us now?
No, when I was thinking to this workshop, those are my suggestions. For example, I heard a question raised by Luigi, for example. The point to me, why the success rate for a proposal is so low for proposal going to the market. One thing that what I learned is that Pathfinder, the outcomes from the Pathfinder, who knows if these outcomes are positive or negative? How do we know these outcomes are competitive? How do we know they can have an impact, the impact on the society, economic impact? Who judge these outcomes? For example, for the clinical market, for the hospital, we know that there are health technology assessment boards. What is HTA? The HTA is a board in the hospital that evaluate if a new technology has to be bring into the hospital. Let's say you have a new CT scan, a new technology for the CT scan. Do we have to bring this new technology into my hospital? Is there a benefit for the patient? Is it cheaper? Is it more expensive? So, and now I'm taking in the transition, I'm taking advantage of this health technology assessment board, because they are telling me if the PHIRE solution is competitive to the market, because the PHIRE solution will be expensive, but it can have a positive impact on the quality of life of the patient, and by reducing the relapse of the tumor, it will be cheaper. Okay, the application the one application will be expensive, but in the long time it will reduce the cost because it will reduce the number of surgeries and relapse and so on. So the health technology assessment, to me, there should be a board of people from the European Union, for example, that evaluate the outcomes from the Pathfinder. So you have great results, or you have results that, okay, they are not so competitive, but from the basic science can be good. And so to me, there should be a board that evaluate the technologies coming from the Pathfinders. And theoretically, this board should provide a report, and this report, if positive, can be included in the new proposal for the transition. So this will be a pre-evaluation of the potential market application of this, what comes from the Pathfinder, maybe.
Yeah, you agree. Okay. Thank you.
And sorry, Gian, if I can add about the transition, similarly, to me, the European Union or the EIC should become more active. Should become a partner. EIC invests a lot of money in our projects, in our proposal, but does not have the control of the money that we spend. We have the review meeting. We are judged by what we are doing in the proposal, in the project. But why EIC cannot become a partner, an investor? You invest money and you can become a stakeholder you can actively support the creation of a spin-off to have a more direct control, to me.
Thank you very much. I would like now ask as well Francesca and Lorenzo for the question, like, how are the real possibilities to navigate these two research projects into the implementation, during the implementation phase? What are maybe the main, I would say, challenges that you are facing during the implementation phase of these projects? And what is like real, I would say, your target? What you would like to achieve when the project is, we already have this at the beginning, after the end of the project, what will be, the best opportunity for the market and for the companies? So, no.
Well, I go first. So the main challenges, it is a simple reply, because we are working with researchers. So even if they are thinking to set up a spin-off at the end of the project, or after a couple of years, the project is completed, it is tough to talk about entrepreneurial activities because they come from a different world. So it is a different language. And it is a process. And I'm not saying that Massimo and the others are not keen to learn. But it is a process and it requires times. And it is not mandatory that at the end of such promising project as I believe it is PHIRE, it is necessary that all the researcher will become entrepreneur. So it is a long process and everybody needs to be, should understand what it means to become entrepreneurs, to set up a spin-off rather than, looking for a different use model. For me, in such a project, like, in other projects, what I really would like, especially, for medtech and biotech project, what I really would like to see, it is, to take the product into the market and to generate an impact. Because, it should, very true and very important, for all the results financed by European taxpayers, but I believe that even more important when it deals with health and innovative solution that could, make a great change in the life condition of a number of people. So I really struggle in achieving that, and I know I understand that it's a long journey. Competencies, money are required, but if we shape the right format since the very beginning, I think that it is easier or much easier to achieve such important results.
Just to follow up what Francesca said, I think that there could be too many, I would say, suggestions about, how all the stakeholders that are here this morning can really extract the value, in supporting Pathfinder and transition. The first one is, I would say that there must be, a better link between the ESE, the project officer, and the exploitation partners. That the ESE world is offering a lot of trainings. And what we're discussing a lot with Luca and, in this consortium, a lot of partners take part of the ESE trainings was that sometimes there was an overlapping, meaning between the support that we as exploitation partner were giving and the training that, the ESE was offering. So I think it's quite crucial that PO and exploitation partner are quite closely monitoring the evolution of the project and asking constantly if and which could be the training that are fitting at the specific moment in the project. Because, for example, for OxiNEMS, if, around specific technologies, there could be more, I would say, training that were fitting regulatory aspects, legal aspects, where maybe in that moment we need to set up the spin-off or we need, I don't know, to apply for the certification, European certification. So I think that having more technical support that we're giving the right support at the right moment create an added value rather than, again, in the training having a big overlapping about what we did as exploitation partner and what the training was offering. Second suggestion is about, aligning the interest and sitting, around the table, the right kind of partners since the scratch of the project. That there should be exploitation partners. There should be also, from the research side, scientific part, the technology transfer office, which I would say are quite a strong, important part that sometimes are a little bit missing in the discussion. So having them also on board can really help in, I would say, enlarging all the skills that we can bring on the table. And this is another important aspect. And last but not least, also how and when involve investors like business angels, venture builders, to move to the next phase. Because this is another important point, that at a certain moment of the project, or Pathfinder or transition, maybe there could be the moment to set up the spin-off, or the startup should be set up. So in that moment, the business angels should be engaged. And another important point is how to connect, the single project with the business angels. So there should be somehow this kind of, link network that exploitation partner can really uptake easily, and can connect them with business angels, VCs, that can understand the potential value of investing in that moment in the specific spin-off or startup. And this is quite important because, again, a lot of time, if these things are not planned in advance with the right stakeholders, the momentum, it's finishing. And then, once the project is closed, it's very tough to move to the next phase of the exploitation side. So I think that these are the main two suggestions that I would like to bring on the table this morning for, moving to the next stage for the transition and Pathfinder.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. And as well, I have one question for both of you, Luca and Massimo. And as well, it's connected with what already Lorenzo said. Because you are AEC supported company, you have access to the business acceleration services that AEC is providing for their companies. Have you using these services? I think there is a dedicated project tech to market specifically, focusing on the AEC transition companies, Pathfinder transition companies. And if you can as well give us maybe a feedback, what is missing currently under this bus umbrella? What you would like maybe to participate in the future for this type of services that AEC is providing?
Yes, some of the people of the consortium are attending the workshops from mainly tech to markets. They had some courses, and they had some contacts with some people, and these are the main activities that we are following now, mainly at the end of the project, 2024, and most of the activities. And yes, there's and what the second question is, what do we miss?
Yes, what you would like maybe that AEC will add in the next years, maybe not next year, but the year after.
I can two things that I think are missing. So one is to have more contacts with technological brokers. So, I mean, people that are inside the technology that we develop, but really inside. So people that are working on this, to have some exchanges, not only on the methods on the business methods and methodology on investors, but what we are really missing is to speak with people, with companies on our technology that they are on specific technical questions on our results. Because mainly we wrote a project that was mainly oriented on biomagnetism, on medical instrumentation and sensors. But while doing the research, we had also different results on side technologies, and we are not expert in side technologies as much as we are in the main core of the project. And in some sense, in some of these results, we would have more contacts with people that are inside the technology development. And the second is kind of suggestion that we have some gap in between the Pathfinder and transition, because at present the project's finished. We started our consortium from scratch, and now we made 4.5 years of discussion. We have a consortium that are very eager to work together and continue our activities, but the grants finished. Some of the results are in between 2 and 3 PRL, and we would like maybe to discuss some of the specific results clearly and with the people that are doing technology, and have some funds for specific activities. Let's make, for example, that we had some postdocs working on a specific topic, and they have to stop the grants, and they are already trained to do this. And this is a pity that they cannot do further research to improve the TRL from 2 to 3, because we are just near here, and they move, maybe they change their job or they move from another position. And I think this is somehow, I don't want to prolong it's different from prolonging the contracts.
Yes.
I just want to discuss it, to have an interview on specific topics in front of angels, in front of investors, in front of the European Commission, and in front of some brokers, technological brokers, to have a concrete discussion on how to improve the TRL to go to the transition. And this is one.
Do you think then, I will just follow up, do you think that it could help to have something like it was presented today, pre-accelerator, so there could be like pre-transition?
Yeah, a transition to transition.
Yeah.
Transition square, but
but it will be like, let's say, maybe a very short period that could help to identify exactly the business opportunities of the solution to be developed into the
very focused grant, not based on application, but based on interviews. So at this point, I think we miss not just writing a grant and with an application. This is good, but we need interviews. We need to discuss and to negotiate or even negotiate the budget. Oh, we missed this and we would like to make this. And so to negotiate with the committee, the deliverables, and say, okay, we can arrive here in 6 months, in 8 months, in 1 year, and just so specific.
Thank you very much. We have still a few minutes for the questions from audience. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand. Reginald has the question.
Thank you so much for the interesting panel. But I want to go a little bit to the first phase. When we saw the figures about Croatia, and because Croatia's my archangel country, so I was a little bit concerned, how can we get Croatia higher in the ranking? Are there lessons learned within EIC about the successful countries who have a big hit rate? Is there any secret sauce in the introduction? How can we submit more Croatian companies to become successful? For instance, obviously France and Germany were on top, but the Netherlands were very high respective to the number of people. And I've learned from Mia that there's a lot of innovation going on. For instance, how could we become the Estonia? Because Estonia had a high hit rate as well. Is it about the composition of the consortium? Is it the kind of technology which is behind? Has there been any research within EIC why some countries are more successful in hit rate than others?
I think, I don't know, Mr. Wacky, if you would like to answer or no.
Yeah, it's a complex issue. I mean, there are reasons generally why countries are more successful than others. I would say it is the less or more developed tradition of ensuring the tech transfer from university level to the exploitation level. I would say those connections work in various ways, I would say, depending on the countries. In certain countries, they work better than in others, which explains why this connections is more effective, and therefore it's faster in order to bring these technologies to the exploitation level and therefore to the next stage. It could be also the organization of the different member states. Some member states have, I would say, a more streamlined, centralized organization with bodies that are empowered to actually accomplish this, that may have also an impact. At the end of the day, it's also, I would say, how the respective member states use the opportunities offered by European funding, and I mean not necessarily the IC, but also, for example, structural funds in general, and how those are brought to bear in relation to more competitive direct funded instruments such as the IC. I think all these different elements may provide some kind of an answer of why you have a variation in the performance of the different member states.
Thank you very much. And I have one comment and question in one, and I know that we need to finish soon, but I will close with this. There was a comment from our colleague Natalia Mozom that there is always as well EEN, that it's the regional partners to support companies in every region to apply to AEC, so you can always contact them. And it is connected with the question, and it's for the last, really, please try to be very, very brief. In which period, I would say, or in which time business angel should support AEC Pathfinder and AEC transition companies? What is the best moment for that? And this is a last question.
In my experience, from the very beginning, since the project preparation, because it should be a long-term support, that's the most effective way to build value and to increase the chances to take the project to the next level.
I fully agree. As I said at the beginning, they help us also the business, not only the exploitation managers, but also the business angels to better shape the project toward the market. Otherwise, we do basic science all the day.
Luca, do you have another comment?
Yeah, on this, yes. I agree, but I think that from Pathfinder usually starts from university, and I think there should be a mixing between curiosity-driven and solution-driven research. So including business angels is good. And before they say that there should be more vertical, and I think this should be done more gradually during the project, because we don't know which technology we are developing, side technology we are developing during the project. And so business angels can help and drive, but they cannot drive only. There should be some committee, and then they must adapt, or they must look at other investors to. So it's not just having business angel from the beginning that will help only. We should select the good one for this particular technology, and maybe they can change, because the project can change during the implementation. And so I would start from negotiation, not from writing. I would start business angel from the negotiation of the project.
When there is already some technology.
When is accepted, and before companies that help for impact is okay, but investors, I would start from negotiation because usually writing a project involves more science, sometimes connections, and takes time. So having a business angel at the beginning, I'm not sure it is useful. It would be more useful from negotiation from the starting of the project during the evolution.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Lorenzo, maybe your point of view when company or the projects are ready for business angels or innovation actors as a meta venture builder.
Well, no, I totally agree. Meaning that the best moment is from the start, because it's a matter of a long-term creation of value. I would like to point out, maybe to specify, that business angels should, be the person that, can also have maybe technical background, because a lot of times if you have a business angel that has a big experience behind, the specific vertical where the technology is going, having them on board, because they have this kind of expertise also in bringing this technology to the market, because maybe they in the past had their own startups, or maybe because they had a high-level position in big corporates, always in the same market. Having them on board, it's not only a market perspective, but it's also a technological perspective, which Luca was saying, it's super important for the Pathfinder. Not only, I would say, the market-driven, but also following and supporting, if possible, the technological aspect. Which, if you are merging these aspects in the same person, this business angel, of course, putting him or her on board from the scratch, it's a super added value.
Thank you very much. And this was the last words from our panel discussion or workshop discussion. We will have now a short break, and we will be back with the panel about the AEC Accelerator with different companies and different business angels coming from different countries as well. Thank you very much.